Wow, it's not easy to be an orphan in Zambia, especially now when we have a lot of people dying from HIV/AIDS, and we have a grandmother, maybe she had 6, 7 children, and they all die, leaving a lot of orphans, and this grandmother is looking up to maybe up to 19 children, and then still some more orphans are coming in to stay with her. The grandmother will put them in a small house. She has no big house to accommodate all these children. She'll live with them. All she's concerned is, are they all here? If they are 19, are there 19 grandchildren here? If she's able to provide a meal, it's only 1 meal per day, and that's not even a nutritious meal. To just be our nshima with some vegetables.
Nshima, which is basically ground corn, right?
Yes, that's our corn, yes, and with vegetables. In the morning, the children will, like we are working in the rural part of Zambia, the children will go out in the bush, pick whatever fruit they can, if it's there. If it's not there, then they have to wait for the little nshima which grandma is going to prepare. So it's not easy. They go through a lot of suffering.
And they don't have a lot of clothing.
No.
They don't have a lot of bedding. Some of them don't sleep on beds at all.
No, some they even sleep on banana leaves, you know. They'll sleep on empty bags, like maize bags. They'll use them as their beddings. They don't have.
No medicine?
No. And in the areas where we are working, the hospitals are quite far. Any medical facility is far. And if somebody's sick, then they have to walk maybe 20 kilometers to get to the nearby health facility.
And malaria is very common. What happens when one of these orphans gets malaria? Do they die?
They do die, yes, but over the years we've been teaching our communities on how to prevent malaria, because we know malaria is also preventable. They would close the windows before it's dark. Then they have to cover, or if they have some ditches with stagnant water, they have to cover that. And we teach them quite a lot on how to prevent diseases. We teach them on how to prevent diarrhea, because diarrhea also causes a lot of problems. How to boil water. We do what we can to prevent the diseases which are preventable.
Now, what about the emotional needs of an orphan? I mean, you can look after their physical needs. What about their emotional needs, their spiritual needs? I mean, that's got to be overwhelming.
It is overwhelming, even for me. There are times when I've gone out in the villages and I look at these children. At times I cry, and I've been there several times. It doesn't change. But we thank God, because we work with a lot of church leaders. Every week they meet these children and they share the word of God, and they would look for those who need special need, and then they'll talk to them. They'll be like their guardian or counselor, somebody to guide them in life. But it's not easy.
Now, are you married?
Yes, I'm married.
Do you have children?
Yes, I have my own children. God has blessed us with 4 children. We have a girl who is the firstborn. She's 14, and then 3 boys, 12, 10, and 8.
Now, how do they feel about their mom and the work that their mother is doing?
Oh, at first it was not easy, but I would explain to my children. And I remember the first time my daughter, she was 4 years, and my son was 2 years, when they saw their children for the first time. They just said, "Oh, mommy, oh no, are they your children? No, these are not your children." But afterwards, they've learned that their mother has a lot of children. Right. And last month, for the first time, my daughter is 14, asked me, "Mom, when you grow old, who is going to look after the children?" And I just looked at her and I said, "You." And I know the Lord has already started talking to that.
This was the word of the Lord for your daughter.
Oh, yes.
Well, you know, who knows? That could very well be the case. But certainly, these children need to have ongoing care. Now, when an orphan grows up and gets to the point where they can be independent, is it a difficult thing for them to find their way and to be accepted in Zambian culture?
Oh yeah, because they are still living with their relatives, so they are already accepted. Right. Right. And we also have a skills training center in Kitwe, where we train our orphans, those who've been up to grade 9 or grade 12. We give them carpentry skills, we give them tailoring skills. Actually, they are the ones who even made this outfit I'm wearing today. Yeah, we also teach them bricklaying and agriculture and theology. And these are the skills we encourage them to go back to the centers where they came from and use them in the villages where they came from. And
now, if some of them want to go to university, are they able to do that?
they're able to do that, but it will be expensive for us. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Have you been in Canada before?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is your reaction as a Zambian coming into Canada? What do you see when you come to Canada?
I see a lot of things. Everything that you want in Canada, the variety is just too much.
It's overwhelming.
You want a loaf of bread, there are 20 or, you know, just a lot, you know. And there are times when I've gone to restaurants and I see people, you know, throw food. Yeah. And that really, you know, I say, oh, I wish Zambia was near for me to pack that food and take,
Send all the doggy bags to Zambia.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. When I was pastoring in Israel back in the 80s and early 90s, Israel, believe it or not, at that time was just kind of coming into its own, and there were a lot of kind of rough edges to life in Israel. And like you, even though I was a Canadian, I'd come back to Canada and I was astonished at how big the grocery stores were, how clean they were, how broad the aisles, how much food was there, how polite the drivers were in the streets. Nobody's honking a horn. You know, Canadians sometimes don't realize what a great place this is. Final question. What do you think the future holds? Do you want to keep growing in terms of the kids you're caring for, or do you want to start expanding? I mean, you're in 16 centers now, right?
Yes, we are.
What are your thoughts in terms of the future?
Our future is to be self-sustaining. That has always been my desire, for Faith Orphanage to be self-sustaining, and that's why we have the Skills Training Center. Right. One of the things we teach to our children is to go back. We want them to go back to these 16 centers and be able to develop the 16 centers that we are working in. And we thank God that this year the government of Zambia has given us 20 hectares of land. We want to develop that and, you know, put it as a commercial farm and be able to produce things which we can sell and also sustain our project. So we look forward to the time when Faith Orphanage will be self-sustaining. I know it can't happen in 2 years or 3 years, but that's our desire, that we should be self-sustaining.
Terrific. Self-sustaining is the goal, no doubt about it. Faith Liyena is our guest, and she is the head of Faith Orphans Fund in Kitwe, Zambia.